All right, guys, we're live with the Team Bad Decisions 40K Twitch stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. Gotta correct Matt. For some reason, Matt wants to keep adjusting in size. I don't know why. There you go. Look at you. Now you're all stylish. Perfect. So my name's Eric J, and we've got a couple of my other buddies from Team Bad Decisions. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Eric Gibbs.
Hey, G-Man.
Matt, you're a little quiet. Pull your mic up. Today we're talking about, basically, we're just going to cover all this new 9th edition stuff, including demons, knights, all of these rules that have been released, possibilities of new stuff. We'll just kind of see where we go from here. Matt's looking excited. If you notice, Matt has 2 entire GW paint racks behind him. He's a little crazy. So basically, just to kind of start off, we'll start with just these leaked rules, essentially. And I guess that they're redoing command points, which is really cool. How do you guys feel on the whole command point situation with the redo of how it was working?
I personally am interested to see a little bit more on it. I think it's vague as of right now. But I think it's going to be a better game system in general due to the fact that there's going to be limitations on command points.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty big if it is truly as limited as we're seeing right now. Because, like we all know, all you got to do for command points is a Loyal 32 or a Rusty 17, and do that twice, and your Knights and Demon Wing, Matt, has command points for days.
Yep. I guess we should clarify. So basically, if you guys haven't read it, it's got 4 different levels, and they have it limited on battle size, point limits, and then the command points that you essentially start with. So Combat Patrol is total power level up to 50, points limit up to 500 points, and you get 3 command points. Seems kind of low. There's the Incursion, which is power level 51 to 100, points limit up to 1,000, and 6 command points. Strike Forces, power level 200, standard 2,000 point games, 12 command points, and then Onslaught, which is, I assume, Apocalypse and higher, is 300 power level, 3,000 points limit, and 18 command points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so then, in addition, basically, I guess what it looks like is they have, instead of being required to take a battalion or a brigade or a patrol detachment, and then you unlock the command points, it kind of goes in reverse from what we're reading. For instance, a battalion detachment costs 3 command points, and then if it's battle forged, you get those points back. Is the way I'm reading this.
No, so what they're doing is basically saying, instead of you bringing 3 or 4 detachments like they originally had, each detachment's going to have points cost to it. So you're going to start out with 12, and whichever one your warlord is in, you're going to get bonus command points on top of that. So like the battalion that they label in the next one costs you 3 CP to gain access to the battalion. But if your warlord is in there, then you get 3 CP for that detachment. However, say you go and get another battalion, it's going to cost you 3, and you don't have a warlord in there, you're out 3 CP. So it's making people, instead of saying, I only want heavy supports, or only want certain things, or say I want to run 9 heavy support, I've got to spend CP in order to access that, instead of the whole I gain extra CP for having multiple battalions.
Got it.
So they're doing like the total reverse.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I see what you're saying. Command benefits plus 3 command points if your warlord is part of this detachment.
Yeah.
Okay. So, have they said if you have to remain battle forged in a detachment? Oh, they must be from the same faction as detachment. Okay, so there's just no mixing at all.
No, there's no more. I think they're trying to steer away from soup. And again, if you're going to be doing soup, you have to spend CP to do soup, which is going to really limit you each turn on what you can do for your entire army.
That would make sense. That is another thing to bring up, I guess, is that the command. There's a new phase called, what is it? The command phase.
Command phase. Yeah, it's real similar to the Age of Sigmar phase. I can't think of the name.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, basically it's a mock-up of it where it was like pre-game or pre-turn is where you that's where in Sigmar you cast your psychic powers and do all that pre-game or pre-turn. And each of your warlords has specific abilities in there, which is something we might see in the command phase. Who knows? That might be part of the warlord traits that we get, or the new warlord traits.
Yeah, my most recent list was also Chaos Knights, and it was a soup list. So I'm excited to make souping work somehow or another. But yeah, it was a demon, a mixed demon detachment, had a Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer in there, and then the rest were a bunch of Knights and Mortarion. Great. So like you said, Eric, I'm excited to have more CP starting with Knights. That'll be really exciting to be able to use some more stratagems throughout the game.
Yeah, it's seems pretty legit. That people are talking about why run troops, why run these max size squads. Well, this is one of the reasons why. For one CP, use the strategy before an enemy falls back, which is something we've needed, is something to fight against these auto fallback units or armies that have no reason not to fall back, and this kind of gives them one.
Yeah.
It's basically roll a d6 for each model in what they're calling the engagement range. We still don't know fully what that is, but for each model that's within that engagement range, roll a d6, and on a 6, that the unit running away suffers a mortal wound. So you start rolling 30 dice, it's an average of 5 mortal wounds, and that can be pretty devastating to some of these shooting armies, or you're talking drones or anything that you want to get out of combat so you can shoot. It might not be fully wise to do that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that for like a Riptide, because that's the big thing with Riptide spam. They can fall back and then just. So
yeah, because they fly. So why do they care about not falling back? So now there's reasons, and you only got 3 wounds left because berserkers decided to slap you around a little. Now you're running away from 20 berserkers or 30 demonettes or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of scary when you go, oh, you're dead now on average.
Yeah. So
you can sound really good.
Gibbs, my audio is apparently not working, so if you just want to head this up for right now while I figure out what's going on, have at it. Or Ryan or Matt, either one of you guys. Oh, never mind, I'm good to go. Okay. So I'm still in charge.
Great news.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's awesome. I obviously, once we learn about what the clarification of engagement range is, I'm sure everyone that plays Orcs would love engagement range to be anybody that's locked in combat.
Within 6 inches or whatnot.
Yeah.
My guess is it's going to be the 1 inch that we have right now. As far as you can fight within an inch, they're just not putting a name to it.
Well, have we actually seen any new stat lines for models in 9th yet?
The stat lines are all staying the same from my understanding.
Correct.
Okay.
Everything that all the data slates moving from the codex that are out right now and the Psychic Awakening books that are coming or that are out and are coming out. Those are what are moving us to 9th edition. So basically, the Psychic Awakening is the end of days kind of thing, but it's also making everybody who's been kind of forgotten with their codexes or their codex released 2 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're bringing them back up to par, so everybody's on an even playing field going into 9th.
That's good. That's good. So fear not, people. GW will not 8th edition you and release all of the new books and then nullify them a month later.
Yeah, they're not doing what they did in 8th edition.
That made me so mad.
They kind of learned their lesson with all the complaints that they received from that.
Yeah. Vanilla
that's good.
Index Hammer was quite the time.
Oh yeah.
Complaints. I'm pretty sure the ozone still hasn't healed from everybody burning their armies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think that's good though. I think that's good that you see feedback from a company that is, looking at the people that they're making their money off of and saying, okay, look, they clearly didn't like what we did. Let's make some changes and such. That's good. So let me see here. So there's also changes to matched play. There's, I guess, different packs for missions for each game size. There's 3 specifically for combat patrol, 6 for the incursion strike force, and then 3 for onslaught or apocalypse. Let me see here. And I guess the big thing is that they're essentially incorporating ITC style rules and objectives. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so they ended up hiring a gentleman who was running Nova to help do all their missions and all that. He was actually on one of their streams when they first started talking about the release of 9th. And I feel that they were, the missions that GW's had has always been kind of very one-dimensional. So now that we're talking Nova and Adepticon and all these other outside large events that are influencing the game, they're taking the positives of all of them and kind of mix-matching these missions to make them viable for any and all of these large events. So we could be seeing those other places like Bay Area and the LVO and all that not having their specific ITC missions now and going back to these basic missions, so they're all uniform again, which would be nice. That way you're not having to learn 2 or 3 different play styles. It's more advantageous to get new people in and start going to these larger events because they're not scared because they're not having to learn. I mean, LVO has a whole slew of rules you got to learn. I mean, they're not even the same as in the book that you're reading. So, yeah, it's gonna average out a little bit better for everybody, I think, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's definitely a hassle going to even Adepticon is just reading through the mission packet is kind of one of the things, and there's so many times that people will be playing games and they'll be like, well, did you read your mission packet? Because you completely messed up your game because you didn't read that. So it'll be nice to know, way ahead of time, oh, I play these 5 missions every time anyway, That'll be great. It looks like one of them that they actually have shared one, and it's titled The 4 Pillars, and it's just got your standard 4 objectives, 1 at the center of each quadrant, and then the 9-inch circle of doom in the center that nobody can deploy in. So, sounds pretty basic.
Yeah, they released another one too, and they all seem to have basically the same progressive as far as the hold more objectives and all that, which I'm fine with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what the whole point of war is. It isn't just about slaughtering. It's about
come on,
key points and
you're
doing a mission.
Your Tau is showing.
So yeah, I'm all about, hey, go grab objectives and.
Man, your Tau is showing really bad.
I don't play Tau. I'm hardcore melee player.
We're called Team Bad Decisions, right? Intelligence is not required for this team.
Their first book. Like 4th edition.
When they had no Riptides?
No Riptides.
Yep. Did they have
Back
anything
when
that was heavy
all
hitting?
was good in the universe.
They had Kroot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They had real Kroot and the Narlox and all
Kroot were
that.
great. I feel
Hey.
like Tau are now the tainted good. If you've
Hey,
looked at their
those
updated
third-
stuff, they've gone
100%,
sideways.
edition.
100%.
3rd edition Tower awesome. Squad of Wolf Scouts, you're ethereal. Bottle out, bitches.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, you killed the ethereal. Everything on the table had to make a leadership check and run away. It was great.
Oh,
Really?
Every game, I'd have one squad of Wolf Scouts drop in behind them and just, oh, look, ethereal. Oh, you don't have any power weapons? What do you mean?
He was garbage. He had no real say. I think he had maybe a 4 or 5 up.
I think it was a 5-up.
Couple
Oh, they were
wounds. I
trash.
mean, it was bad.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I didn't play till 7th edition or end of 7th edition when they already had the Riptide, I think. So they were already in their broke phase with Taudar.
Yeah.
I'm,
Well, that, remember CK's United Nations list, Eric?
Yes. I
Oh,
do.
God, that was so broken.
what was that?
Was a Tau, like one squad of the big Tau drones with the Seeker missiles,
Uh,
the
The
Fort
Remoras.
drones. Yep.
Yeah, the Remoras, the flying ones.
And then he had the Harlequin formation that had each one of the command.
Each one of the
Unit.
characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
God.
it was like the Jester's face or something like that. It was basically one of each of the HQ choices out of the book, and it gave specific abilities, and it was silly. A lot of people
Yeah.
were using that.
Yeah. Oh, it was ridiculous.
That's funny. That is funny. Well, don't worry. There'll be a broken list again.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get there.
Yeah, eventually. So, they've also got narrative play and crusade stuff, obviously, coming out. So fear not. However, with the narrative stuff, it is... Oh, excuse me. Narrative stuff is the crusade play. And that's
Yeah.
essentially like a... what's the word to describe it? Like a lengthy... Like you keep your
Campaign.
stat
It's a
lines.
campaign. Yeah,
That's
it's
it, yeah.
totally
Yeah.
a campaign.
Yeah. I'm stoked for that. I'm excited. I really would like to get like a giant campaign going, and I think it's possible with like Tabletop Simulator now, as well as because I mean even without this whole coronavirus thing going on, I live in St. Louis. You guys all live in Michigan, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm super stoked about that. Basically, what happens is it's like old kill team from 7th edition, where like your characters or your units can like take a perk if they do something special, or they like take a negative if something bad happens to them. I think
They get killed and you can buy them back, and yeah, there's all sorts of cool things that you can do in narrative play. I think one of my favorite things about it is you can do it from across countries. You don't have to sit there and say my local game store is only doing this. I've been in several where you get on and you post and you're playing people from Great Britain, or that's who your opponents are.
really.
You might be playing at your store, but each specific army is trying to do a specific goal, and other armies are trying to prevent you. So you each are gaining strategic points and all that, and levels to make you go towards that goal, while others are knocking you back down. GW's done a couple of really good ones too that you used to post on their website. So this is what happened during the battle, and
That's
you can only
cool.
do so many battles per week, because otherwise, when they first started, people were just making stuff up and they had no way of showing.
Well,
Now,
What,
you know,
You didn't
what do
do
you
that
mean I
too?
don't have time to play 75 games of 40K in a
Yeah.
day?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I
like
put
one
in
of the
so many wins for Death Guard. I was just cranking them out.
one of the cool things they did is basically, in order to allow the points to be accepted, both you and your opponent had to like sign off on it.
Oh, that's cool. Just like
So-
how they do it, like
Yeah.
tournament, like in-person
Yes.
tournaments, I should say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, with
That's
the
good.
Best Coast and all that.
That's cool. That's
Great.
So somebody in the comments mentioned there's a GW app. What?
You seen it?
No,
Yeah.
I have not.
So it's going to be similar again to like their Age of Sigmar one, where it's going to be their version of Battlescribe. GW has had this before, and it was hot garbage in my opinion. It
Looking this up.
did not work right. The points were always off. It was never updated. But now that I think they finally have a team that's working on it, it's going to be decent. I mean, right now I think the Age of Sigmar one is like $2 a month to use. Yeah, it's called War Scroll. I don't know what the 40K version is going to be called, but yeah, they'll
Add a slate or something probably.
it'll be cool, like where you can sit there and say, "Hey, this is what I have," and you can copy and paste pictures of units in, and you can take pictures of your army and put it in so people can see what you're doing. And if they're going to mitigate that, and if that's how they're going to start running their events, if they're going to have like a Best Coast pairing app, people are going to be able to see your army and your pictures and all that, and it'll be kind of neat to see that.
That does sound
It
pretty sweet, actually.
centralizes Battlescribe and Best Coast pairings.
Yeah, if they can
potentially.
do both of it, it'll be neat. And it doesn't seem like it'd be hard to do, but
So they already have one for Age of Sigmar. Oh, Warhammer Age of
They
Sigmar,
do.
the app. Okay, and
yeah.
It's good.
it actually works. Like they actually do adjust point values and stuff like that right away.
Yeah,
People
it's
like
like immediately. So anytime a new codex came out, or I think they're called War Scrolls for them, you had to delete the app and then reinstall it because it would never update correctly. But once you did that, everything was still on there. And if you had army lists and all that, they normally stayed. I think only ever lost like 2 or 3, depending on the updates. Back when I played Sigmar, but yeah, it was a relatively cool app, and for $2 a month, you couldn't really beat it.
Interesting.
$25 a year, sure.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's not free like Battlescribe and all that, but there could be perks. Like it takes people weeks sometimes to make a new file for Battlescribe when something new comes out.
Yeah.
Now, GW, if they're right on it, it's going to be the day that it's released. So, Saturday night or Friday night at midnight, when the stores can start selling their codex for the new release, you're going to have the ability to update your app too.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Oh, go ahead,
I
man.
want to chime in on that too. Did I hear correctly that when we are buying new books for 9th edition, we're also going to get an ebook version too, so we can immediately pull up a PDF version? Will that be housed in that app as well?
Yes, it's going to be in the app.
Great news, folks.
Which is a necessity. I mean, why not get involved in that? I always hated buying a book and not having it on my phone because playing Chaos. I mean, I'm running around, at my prime or whatever with the books. You got your codex. You have 2 different indexes back when indexes were a thing. I had 3 different Psychic Awakenings. I had 2 codexes, Demons and Chaos Space Marines. And I mean, you're going, this is nuts. We talked about not having this, and we're going right back to it. So when I'm walking around with 70 pounds worth of books in my bag, I'm like, no, I'd rather have it all on my phone, and I can just type in a word and it'll pull it up for me.
Well, I think you're going to turn into a greater demon with all that heavy lifting.
It's ridiculous.
It'll buff you up.
Yeah.
I think he's turning to Nurgle. That'll turn him into a hunchback.
Yeah,
100% agree.
I'm okay with that.
I'll take it.
Pretty stoked that GW is finally getting their stuff together for this. I'm really surprised they just didn't buy Battlescribe. Because
what a statement. Well, it's so many other games.
Well, yeah, but it is.
Battlescribe is so
that'd be cool. If GW
used.
bought them out.
Well, that's what the thing is, like, because GW is a major company, and Battlescribe started out as a free app on the App Store. It was just a dude making it. And it worked, because I remember, what was it, Army Builder? Was it Army Builder was what everyone used to use?
Yep, made by Lone Wolf.
Yeah, and that was, Battlescribe...
He's still a Lone Wolf.
Battlescribe is way better software than Army Builder, and it was free, and I don't understand why GW wasn't like, man, look at what this dude made. Bring this guy on. Like, he made it in his free time. Give 'em a
and I mean, you and I talked the last time we played on tabletop. I was like, I'm shocked GW hasn't done something like this. Like,
Yep. Yeah, all these guys that are making
they
the
can
tabletop
make
stuff.
so much money doing this and just making their own app and making things. It's already written. They just got to go in and take it.
Yep. And they
With
can
this-
provide actual 3D model.
Yeah.
Because it's all
Yeah.
STL files anyways. They can provide actual 3D
You
models.
start with this and then you work your way up. I mean, come on.
Well, and with their in-house studio, with the videos they're doing now, imagine that grade of
They're getting good.
stuff on
Oh,
the
yeah.
tabletop.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man. I would be super excited. I'm gonna be very honest. You could even really, with the way we buy 40K physical models, you could even say release model like units individually. Like, you'd be like, oh, now we have the Mauler feed,
Yeah.
$2 to add into your army, and people would still buy it.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing
We
that we
joke
didn't,
about that though, but I did just buy 2 Mauler fiends, so
Were they $2?
I hope, golly, they should have been. That's what they're valued at. I'm gonna convert them into Lord Discordance though, so I'm gonna get the value out of them.
That's exactly what I've been doing, actually.
Cause you're smart.
Yeah, they're great. The Mauler Fiend is like one of the best Chaos models for conversion kits.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
It's a
always
good
love
kit.
the Morphines.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't chat about with the new edition is the size of the tables. The table
yeah.
sizes.
Yeah,
smaller.
that was. I think we had that a little further down the list.
We kind of got
Yeah,
caught
it's
up
not
on
on.
GW.
Yeah.
It's not on this.
Oh,
website
it's
that
not
we're
on
looking
this
at.
list?
No, that's what I just went all through it, and it is not
Okay.
there. So
Yeah,
Well, we're just so excited to get into Melee. We can't wait to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about how small this
So-
board is.
can't wait for the one-turn charge.
Well,
Yes.
so you're gonna end up seeing. So I've heard a lot of complaints about this as far as going with all the competitive sites that I'm on Facebook. Going,
How,
oh
how
no,
many
I,
gunline armies are
So,
complaining about?
everyone. But see, here's the thing. So what they're doing is, so they took a foot away from one side. So it's now, instead of a 48 by 72, it's 44 by 60. So you got to think they're increasing what terrain does,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
what they're also doing is they're making the models that you're playing with smaller unit wise. So if you're cutting 25% of the army out that you normally play with, you still have a gunline is still going to be that much more effective on a table over an assault army, unless the table is a little smaller.
Yeah.
So they have to mitigate that in some way. So if you're playing with less models, you have to mitigate the size of the table too. I mean, it's just like you're not going to play it with 1,000 points on a 4 foot by 6 foot table. You're going to play on maybe a 4 by 4. So that's what they're doing, and it just makes more sense to allow an even playing field all the way around. You know, I mean, even with your standard 4 by 6 table, a gunline against even in our current edition, a gunline against a melee army, gunline's always going to have the advantage, at least for the first turn.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's why
So-
Iron Hands were so broken for what?
Yeah, and Raven Guard. I mean, it's terrible to play up against those and let them go first.
Yep. Oh,
So-
outflanked Centurions.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
somehow
yeah.
managed to sneak into my face.
let me just kill all your characters and not really have to do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be some perks with this. Yeah, it sucks for everybody who's got their fat mats out there, or tables that are already made. But
Hey,
You just
a
cut 'em.
razor
You
blade
know
does
what?
wonders.
Yeah. Yep.
that's exactly it. And that's
Good
what I
man.
was saying. Is
Yep.
you can cut it, you can buy felt and cover it.
Love it.
You can do all sorts of different little things, and on top of that, you now have more space for your dice.
Yeah,
It's
it'll
already
work
put on
real
the
if-
well for.
If
essentially
nothing
the full
else, you
line.
can. If nothing else, you can sell some Magic player a couple of really beautifully designed, urban, scenic playmats. Recoup
I
some of your
know.
cost.
Yeah, there are. There's been several talks about the larger events already having adapted the size of the tables. As far as, yes, Adepticon has confirmed that that's what they're going to be going to. And there was one other, I can't remember if it was Alvio or whatnot, but I mean, anything that's going to be ran by Reese and his group down there, they're going to follow the guidelines.
Oh yeah.
They're just gonna, and again, this is a whole new market for them to sell more mats.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, they already have the new
They've already
size
got it
out
cut.
there.
Yeah, they've already got it up on the
Really?
site.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, rules
Looks good.
aren't even out yet, and they've got the mats out.
Same price,
Watch
smaller
and see
mat.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, no reason not to.
Verified.
I don't even would.
That is, man. Well, I mean, I'm excited about it. I think that for the most part, it's gonna kind of like you were saying. It's basically gonna be the same. Everyone thinks, oh, you're taking 25% of your army away. Okay, well, that's true, but your opponent is also taking 25% of their army away. The board is being smaller, so you're not as spaced out. It's gonna be roughly the same.
If you do the math, I mean, you're taking a foot off one side, so that's 4 foot. So you're basically, a table right now is 24 square foot.
Yeah.
So if you're taking 4 foot off one side, because 1 by 4 is 4 foot, and then 4 inches every foot on top of that, 3 of those is another foot. So you're taking 5 foot 8 inches of square footage off the table. That's 25%. Like, you're already there. So there's really, everything is just becoming smaller. And
Yep.
even playing a horde army, I'm okay with that because, the Michigan GT, I was running 196 models, I think, when it was all said and done. And yeah, I finished all my games and with all the turns and all that, but that sucks to move them and then have to unload them and pack them and do it again. And you're doing that 3 or 4 times a day. It's really exhausting.
So I gotta play knights.
Oh, buddy. 4 drops, done.
Yep, done. Boom, boom, boom.
That's what
Plus
all
one to go
horde
first.
players. It's what all horde players devolve to, either knights or
Devolved.
riptide wings.
I'm still stuck with my 190 models. I'm fine with that.
That's okay.
Or now give me a bunch of great
control.
demons.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on Greater Demons. Speaking of which, I think we've covered all of the rules leaks. Do you want to switch over to demons? The new demon stuff from the new book, Psychic Awakening book,
It's exciting.
which I don't know
Engine
what
War
that's
looks
actually
great.
called. Engine War, that's it. Yeah. So it covers what? It covers demons of all factions,
Yes.
as well as Chaos Knights. Correct?
And Imperial Knights and AdMech. The
Got it.
AdMech is
AdMech.
probably bringing AdMech through the roof. Incredible.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see what we can get up to that.
Yeah, I think we're going to be discussing the AdMech side in the competitive corner next week, along with Sisters of Battle. I think that's what the two are talking about. I'm not 100% sure.
Good
We're still
picks.
up in the air because I've got somebody talking to me about wanting to know about Sisters of Battle, but
Oh yeah,
we've
Sisters
got-
are good, dude.
we've got new hotness of the new
Yeah, I think
flying parachute. I don't know what you even want to call it.
The Da Vinci looking
Da
thing.
Vinci's
Yes.
Batwing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope. I'm gonna
So-
buy it.
Yeah, that'll probably
I,
discuss because I have all that PDF of all that stuff too. So
Oh, cool.
Nice.
All right, well we'll just go with demons and Chaos Knights because they're the coolest army around right now.
we talked a little bit about actually that's what our show was based off of on Monday was the demons.
Okay.
As far as all the exalted powers and all the craziness that they have, and
Well,
there's
we
some
glaze
awesome
over it.
stuff in there. Yeah, no, I agree. We might as well, I'm all about talking it out.
What was your favorite part?
I enjoy the new stratagems that are unit specific.
Nice.
I like that you're able to play some of these units that you normally don't see, like Blood Crushers, and now there's a reason to play them.
Absolutely.
The mortal wound output that stratagem they have for 1 CP is awesome. It's once the unit finishes a charge move, for every model in that unit or in your unit of Blood Crushers that's within 1 inch of an enemy unit, roll a d6. On a 2 through 5, they suffer a mortal wound. 1 does nothing, and a 6 does d3 mortal wounds. And then if they kill everything within 1 inch of them, they can charge again. So, I mean, so you walk up. I mean, if you run a full unit of crushers, which yes, it is 505 points. It is
That's what,
theoretically like
How large is it though?
12. It's a 12-man
12?
unit.
They're
And
big
they're
models.
500 points?
505 points. They're 4 wounds each.
I don't know if their
Well-
AP and damage output is worth it until all this comes out.
So, all right. So here's the big thing. You also have to include a herald. So you're talking another 70 or 90 points depending on which herald you do, because you can do 56 points for a Bloodmaster, or you can do the Skullmaster, which is the guy on a Juggernaut, for I think 98 points or something like that, 78 points. But that's going to give you everything plus 1 strength. That also includes the Juggernaut itself now too, because that was FAQ'd a while ago. So these things, you have to spend 2 CP it's 3 CP to drop them in the warp and give them the Banner of Blood, because they're over 12 power level, and you want to give them the Banner of Blood to give them the 3d6 charge. You're then going to probably spend the Destiny of Warp to allow them to have the 4-up invuln save instead of your standard 5. And then theoretically, you're going to want them their corn. I think that so they can fight twice.
Yep.
And the extra CP. So you're talking. I mean, if you really want to fully use them, you can blow all your CP in 1 turn on this.
But you get what?
Is it worth it? Well, you would fight 2.5 times.
Okay,
Because the mortal wounds. But so theoretically, the problem that any kind of melee army has is they have to shoot through screens first. This specific corn unit basically now is allowing you to eat a screen unit, because going off statistics again, unit of 12 manages to get into, say, your 10 cultist squad or your scouts or whatever. 2 of them aren't going to do anything because you're going to roll 2 1s. You're then going to get 8 mortal wounds on the 2 through 5s, and then you're going to roll 2 6s on an average of another 4 mortals. So you're talking anywhere between 12 and 14 wounds on average in mortals. So you're going to kill the unit of 10 that's screening. You're then going to charge again into something meaty, so your Imperial Guardsmen are blocking your tanks. All right, kill them, charge the tanks. So now you're, if the Herald's in range, your strength 6 on the Crushers, strength 7 on the charge, because you get plus 1 charge there too.
Yep.
Cool.
You then have 4 attacks on the charge with each Crusher on top. At strength 7, neg 3 AP, 1 damage, flat, 2 damage if you roll 6s to wound. And then you get to swing with the Crushers as well, which will be strength 8, neg 1 damage, 3 attacks each. The damage output is insane. I mean, you hit Knights, you're going to kill Knights no problem. Statistically, you might even be able to pop 2 Knights in 1 turn. Especially if you're popping the next strat to fight again.
So wait. So it's okay. So it's 12 Blood Crushers for a max unit, you said, right?
Yep.
Okay, 4 attacks per Blood Crusher.
Yep.
Okay, at strength on the charge, strength 7, -2 or -2 or 3, 1 damage apiece.
-3, neg 3 AP,
Okay.
1 damage, and then 2 for rolling 6s.
Okay, so theoretically, if you don't roll any 6s, you would have, 4 and 12? Okay, so you'd have, 60-something wounds. Wow, okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to run some of that in 2020, maybe.
It's in one of my lists that I've been
Hey,
playing around with. I
we'll
don't
try
know
it.
how well it is.
Yeah.
But,
He's got an 8-point star army he's working on.
but I mean, it makes it viable. So now that
Yes, exactly.
GW has confirmed that they're also working with the points values itself, they're also allowing power level to be changed with that. So if you see points increase or decrease on units, the power level is going to do the same as well.
Oh, thank God.
Because that was some of the silly stuff. Is
Power level.
Yeah.
when power level never changed and people are still trying to play power level at some random events.
Yeah.
I never played power level. Not one game of power level the whole time.
There's been power level at the Michigan GT for their friendly events.
Yep, that's the
Definitely
only
more of
time I ever.
Buckeye Battle's done it.
I've seen tournaments do for kills. Like instead of doing it like you get a point for every thing you kill, you get your total amount of power level you killed as points.
Yeah,
so I've seen
for a
that.
mission or something.
Yeah. Which that is another
That
thing.
doesn't get confusing.
I know, right? Yeah.
Oh man, when I had to summon in demons and it was like, hey, what's this?
God.
This is based on your demon's power level. I'm like, whoa, I play with points here, guys. This stratagem doesn't even work for me because I don't know what power level
I'm not
is.
British. We use the Imperial system here.
Here's the points here.
Yeah, and that's what was hard with summoning too. Is it was like, okay, you're summoning off power level, but you also have to know the points level of them too, because you have to set aside points for these certain units. I'm going,
Yeah.
why do we have both? Like,
Yeah.
that if we're that's what makes it complicated to play demons.
Yeah. Well, I was really hoping that they'd 86 one or the other in
Yes.
the new edition, but
Yeah, I mean, I see a place for power level. Power level is great
It's
for beginners to get into and say, hey,
simplify.
you know, you thought a dreadnought was cool and you want to play the dreadnought, let me play something that's, because I only brought tactical marines, so it makes sense.
Absolutely.
what dreadnought?
Which dreadnought did they bring? It was a forgeable dreadnought.
Yeah.
That was a Leviathan.
Was it a chaplain dreadnought with
No.
Leviathan.
Nice.
Two gigantic, like
Yeah, the Melta Lances.
Oh, the cyclonic Melta lances or whatever.
Yeah.
With like unlimited damage output or something like that.
Pretty much.
That is the number. It's in the profile, unlimited.
Yeah.
I love it. I bring it every
like
game.
a Toyota Supra power curve.
Yeah. It's the Leviathan with the 2JZ motor.
Yep.
You got me.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, but it was nice to see that each of the four gods got 4 new stratagems, and they're each specifically for a specific unit in their god's core. So like, they've got one for screamers. They have one for bloodletter chariots. They have some for seekers. They have a comical one for nurglings. Basically, they gave nurglings reanimation protocol.
Really?
Yeah.
Bring big units of nurglings up
it makes you want to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's let me see if I can zoom in on it. It's not.
While you're looking it up, have they talked about what they're doing with Legends? Is that still gone?
Legends, as far as I know, is still happening, and they're going to continue to put units into Legends.
Okay. So, is there any possibility of them bringing units back, like Corn Lords on Juggernaut, Corn Lords?
Not that they've said.
That's
there are some disappointing things in that.
I'm bummed too.
So yeah, all right. It's 1 CP for Nurgling Infestation. Use the stratagem at the end of any phase except morale phase. Select 1 Nurgling unit from your army. Roll a d6 for each model in that unit that was destroyed that phase. For each roll of a 5+, return one of the destroyed models back with all of its wounds.
So, yeah, coupling that with a Great Unclean One who's bringing stuff back, and then their various healing spells, if you want to fluff it up that way, you can have some nice survivability there.
And one of the other things I talked about on the competitive corner is a squad of 9 Nurglings isn't really that expensive.
Cool.
And it is an extremely good counter to Grey Knights.
Really? Oh, because they got 4 wounds a base.
They have 4 wounds. They can soak up the smite.
Yeah.
And then they can soak up the bolter shots. And then if they manage... So, all right, you kill them all. Great. I'll spend 2 CP to bring them all back in since they died by the Grey Knights.
So the strat allows you to bring a model back, or for every model that's lost? Just like, is it pure reanimation protocols, or is it like kind of a?
It's a little weaker than reanimation, because reanimation, once you've lost the guy, you can roll for them again. This is for each phase. So you lost 5 in the assault phase. You bring 4 back. You lose 3 in the next shooting phase. You only get to roll for those 3. You don't get to roll for the 4th because he's still dead too.
Okay,
It's a little bit weaker, but it's not bad. You know, it's 1 CP. So
can you blow the strat multiple times?
Yeah, once per phase.
Every phase.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, because you said it works only for the phase. So like, say you lose 3 dudes shooting phase, or say you lose 3 dudes to a smite, like a super smite in psychic phase. Try and get them back. Then you lose 3 more for like shooting from Grey Knight bolters. Try and get them back, and then you get assaulted. You can technically
do it again. Yeah, you can keep going until they're dead, and then if they're Grey Knights and the Grey Knight killed them in the last round, you can bring them back for 2 CP.
Yep. Roll for every model in the unit that has destroyed that phase. Get a 5 up.
That's so great.
That's one of my favorite things about the Contorted Epitome. Is you throw her out front and be like, smite it to death. That's got a 2 up, feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's true.
You killed it? Fine, I'll spend 2 CP to bring her back in. You still got to deal with her another time.
Smite me now. So, I guess we'll talk about knights or whatnot. Chaos Knights, I should say. They've got houses now.
Yep, there's 5 houses.
Okay. And then it looks like everyone gets a specialty, kind of the generic treatment. Everyone gets a specialty relic, everyone gets a special warlord trait, and 1 special stratagem, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and there are some that are good. Some that I wouldn't touch with a
Definitely. They always give a little flavor, fluffiness, and then give us our good stuff. I would love your opinions. I liked the Dread Household bonds a lot, which had a ton of options on, ignoring cover, giving the knight cover. So many good things.
The one that stood out to me was the one that gave the extra 2 wounds to the big knights and 1 wound to the war dogs.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
More wounds.
It's an extra. Well, I mean, you got to think it can't just be 2 las cannons or 2 D6 weapons now that manage to get a lucky box cutters on you, and all of a sudden you're bracketed.
Yeah.
This is preventing you from being bracketed.
The important part is that the Infernal Household took wounds to give you your buffs, and so it's great that you'll start with a couple more. You won't feel bad about burning your own wounds to give yourself household buffs, which it was totally worth it. I loved Infernal Household buffs.
Oh, I think that's possibly the best thing that they had for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. I like putting it on the stomp. Because, or I guess the feat is what they call it now, because it's like now it's D3 plus 1. Because it was always so disappointing rolling like a 1 or a 2. I'm like, man, I did 1 damage with the stomp. What? Like, so now it's auto 2 basically. What is the? I know there's a stratagem for. Am I thinking of Chaos Knights, or am I thinking of what's it called with the Warden, where he's got the Gatling cannon and it auto hits? You know what I'm talking about?
Whoa. Yeah.
That was no. That was one of the. That's a stratagem in the new book. I think you and I talked about that when we played.
Is that Chaos Knights or regular?
Regular Knights.
Yeah.
That was regular. It was dumb.
just free auto hits. Yeah. So I'm looking here, and I guess so one of the things is, wow, it's an assault 4 12-inch las cannon for a House Lucarius. It's called.
Oh, you're talking. No,
Serpent Strike.
Yeah, it's their Meltas. So they replaced their Melta guns with this.
Okay.
What's cool is that it gave it the +1 strength, and there's no normal Melta gun. If you're in half range, you get an extra D6 roll for the damage. Pick the highest. This one is just roll an extra D6. There's no minimum, so it's a 12-inch Melta gun. So it's like it's a multi-melta basically.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And they all the same.
That one was really good. And their strat is really good too, which is when one of the knights moves across an enemy unit, select one of them and roll a d6, and then it like Lord of Dances on them as they move over.
So it's 1 nothing happens, 2 to 5 is D3 mortals, and on a 6 it suffers D6 mortals.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it could be pretty useful to
stomp hordes,
jump on a dude and be like, oh no, I don't want him there anymore.
Yeah, fall back.
Hey, you fall back and step on them.
Love
Why not?
And that makes me wonder if they'll change the rules on how a knight can move. If a knight can just, because right now currently he can only move over stuff if he falls back. Correct.
Oh, he can only move over infantry.
Infantry, but he has to. It's like the key is he has to be falling back. He can't just move over infantry.
I
And you
think
can't
he can
charge over
I
him?
think he can. No, I think he can ignore the movement on it. Let me pull it up.
Okay. Well, because then in that case, that's. I mean, I'm just gonna be running knights around, just like free mortals, free mortals, you get a mortal and you get a mortal. Like, that's so good.
That's good.
It's super smite on a 6, and all you gotta do is move over them.
Super heavy walkers can move over infantry when they fall back.
Okay, so only in the fallback.
Infantry and swarms.
So if you're listening, GW, can you change that to any time? I would like to be able to.
Anytime.
Yeah, I mean, flyers. That was another thing I liked. Flyers are no longer affected by ground troops, movement wise.
Yeah, that's big.
So
That's
Yeah,
very
it
big.
looks like that you're going to be able to charge over their bases and get within an inch of them, or even potentially stand on their bases, which is what it should be anyway.
yeah,
100%. Yeah.
How is something that's moving at sonic speed way up in the air affecting where your models can stand?
yeah.
It's a shadow thing.
Well,
Sorry, I'm wearing a helmet. I already have ear protection.
yeah,
Not worried
It's
about my.
like the 300 fighting in the shade.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So something to think about along the lines of that is, I have a buddy that started doing this. He started buying extra flight stands and flight bases for real cheap on eBay. And what he's doing is, because the whole thought is like, oh, if I get charged by like 30 orc boys and they're sitting on top of my flight stand, I'm not taking the time to move all of that. I'll just pull the model off, drop another flight stand where it's going to land, leave that stand there. Super cheap and easy, speed the game up, like $3 for something like that. And you don't even have to base the other like flight stand because it's not actually part of your army.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Sure.
That's cool. Let me see here. What else we got? We got House Chimere. Chimere? Let's just call it Cashmere. It sounds way cooler. Let me see. It's got an annihilation. It's got for a conflagration cannon is now assault 3d6, strength 7, -2, and 3 damage.
So that's your tyrant.
Yeah.
The Castellan. It's awesome.
When resolving an attack made from this weapon, so it's the flamer. Okay, so it's a Yavara flamer from Tau, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, basically the only thing that's different on this is it's +1 damage. The other one was -2 damage.
Okay.
So it's okay. It's nothing great. Nobody plays with the flamer one anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how, 3 damage is amazing, don't get me wrong, but anything that I'm going to need 3 damage on, I'm going to also need strength 8 on.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Sure. Like, I'm going to need strength 8 to wound on a 4 of a knight and 3 damage to actually make an effect.
Yeah, I personally would rather have the one that the Imperial Knights have out of the normal codex, where it's you reroll all wound rolls.
Yeah.
So, a little bit better.
Yeah, that's pretty broken. I think the math on that would be way better. What is its strat though? Wow. So their strat, however, is select one House Kashmir model from your army, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 3 inches of that model. On a 4+, just free d3 mortal wounds. So you basically can just get rolls.
Yeah, it's okay, but the problem is it's 3 inches in the shooting phase, so
yeah,
you already have to be in the grill.
Good catch.
That's.
Oh, it's also 2 CP.
That's my issue. Is there's going to be times where you're not going to be able to hit more than 1, maybe 2 units with a potential of doing mortal wounds.
It might work well with like the I forget what the Gallant, the melee variant where he's got sword.
Oh, the Rampager?
Yeah, it might work well with him if you can charge into like a horde of guard or something like that and be like, some free mortal.
Yeah, you just have to. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems really situational on whether or not it's going to work.
Very. And a 50% chance on 2 CP is not.
Oof.
Like, I'm not going to take those odds unless I'm going to actually do like mortal wounds to 2 to 3 things. So that would mean that mathematically you'd have to be in range of like 6 things. Which now that boards are smaller, I guess maybe theoretically. Let's see here. So House Vetrix got a non-weapon relic, a power core. Add 1 inch to the move characteristic of a model with this relic. In addition, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the chainsword or the Thunderstrike Gauntlet. Which I believe those are both a D6, correct?
No, they're flat 6.
They're flat 6? Okay. So that's cool.
It's-
7.
It's not worth it. There's only so many tanks in the game or vehicles that have 7 wounds.
Yeah, once again, it really
So-
only matters for like...
Or 14.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, the only one that really stuck out to me was the Space Marine repulsors. They're 14 wounds. So
That's true.
2 hits are going to kill them. But
Or-
other than that, anything under 14 wounds, there's normally going to be... There's very little 13 wounds. So
I
it's going to be
can't think of
12. 13 wounders? Some of the flyers are. But again, this is a melee weapon. So,
What's a Land Raider?
16.
Oh, so...
You need you need 3 anyway. So that's what I'm saying. It's just it's not going to be game changing. And I mean, things that you're going to want to punch with 1 swing are going to be 8 wounds, like your Carnifexes, your Demon Princes, some of these monsters and all that are 8 wounds. They're not 7.
Yeah.
I mean, even Dreadnoughts are 8 wounds.
Yeah.
So it's not really a benefit to gain an additional wound because, to me, I just feel like I'm throwing that many more wounds away for nothing.
Yeah, the math does not work out. And then they also have a pretty useless stratagem, 2 CP to ignore all modifiers to hit by a ranged weapon, which is cool now, but when 9th drops and you can only be at -1 no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not spending 2 CP for that.
Yeah. But the way this is worded, this is kind of where it's going to show that we're going to have more than -1 to hit, is because it's saying that you ignore hit rolls and ballistic skill modifiers. So there's going to be things that are say, hey, you're -1 BS and you're -1 to hit, and you ignore them both.
Do you think it could be that, or do you think it could be the bracketing on a knight? So say like a
No,
knight's
it's not the
fully
bracketing.
bracketed.
No, the bracket specifically says you are 5 up ballistic skill now, or you're a 4 up ballistic skill. That I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think there's certain things in there
Okay.
that are -1 to make you hit, and there are things that are going to come out that are going to affect ballistic skill and attack characteristics and things like that as well. So this is one where it's going to show. So say you might be -1 ballistic skill if you're shooting into like the Promethean pipes or whatnot. This could be a terrain thing. We don't know. So this is clearly something saying that yes, there's going to be multiple negative modifiers, and we're saying that they're not going to stack, but there's going to be different buffers that make it harder for each model to do certain things.
All right. Cool. By the way, somebody in the chat mentioned Feel No Pains, so we're talking to you, Iron Hands. 12 wound model with a Feel No Pain 7 damage would be pretty solid against, actually. And math-wise,
Potentially.
math-wise, that would mean you win if you hit with 2.
No, because they have that strat to be +1 feel no pain too. So,
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always irritating when at the Michigan GT we're playing against the 2 Iron Hands I played against. So they're like, "Oh, you did so many wounds. I'm gonna make myself +1 feel no pain." I'm like,
Great.
Great. Thanks.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh, you survived with 1 wound. Really appreciate that.
Great.
See, if you roll it.
And threat not.
Sounds
No
great.
hate. No hate at all.
No.
If so, the next one, Comentus, is all about war dogs, essentially.
I like this one.
Cool.
What? Go ahead. If you seem to be a little
I gotta
amped up
find
about it over there, a little
I don't even
excited.
know where it is.
Oh, okay.
My folder
So
here.
the strat is use the stratagem during deployment. Select one of your war dog units from your army. You can set this unit up encircling the foe, so it's just outflank for a unit. He's got to be within 6 of the battlefield edge and not, or outside of 6 or outside of 9 of a model. So 6 and 9. and it is the War Dog's vehicle squadron ability takes effect when this unit is set up. So you can take, like, if you have 3 War Dogs, you can put all 3 War Dogs out with one straight.
So you're putting all 3 into reserve.
Correct. Yeah.
For 1 CP, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because they're already talking. One of the things that they leaked, as far as stratagems and all that we're going to see, is they're bringing back Outflank and there was another one too. But it's coming back, and it sounds like you're going to be able to spend CPU at pre-games to allow units to coming off the flanks, to coming off different board edges, similar to what they're talking about here. So if you're doing multiple units for 1 CP, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's insane. And then they get to split, so you can be like, haha, first one take care of some chaff, second one gets in. The only thing is that I don't know what's the benefit of having your War Dogs outflank. My opinion is that the best War Dogs are either the basic one with the long shots, and then you blow that strat to max them, or the ones where it deals mortals on 6s or something like that. And you'd want those all ranged anyway. So what can you see as a benefit to being able to drop 3 War Dogs out?
So with these, yes, the Halberds style War Dogs are awesome with the autocannons. Mm-hmm. But this makes the Melta ones viable, because if they're coming in off a flank, they're already in double tap Melta range.
What's the range on the Melta?
24.
Okay, so it's just standard multi-Melta range.
So they're not going to get shot at. They get to come in with their D3 Melta lance shots. Theoretically, their Melta gun on top, and then they're within 9 inches, which isn't a bad charge to make. And now they're swinging with their chainsaw or their chain blade as well.
Huh. And then that couples with their relic is at the start of the shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 18 inches of a model with this relic until the start of the turn. When resolving an attack made by a model with the relic, improve the armor penetration. So actually, I take that back. That doesn't really matter for Meltas at all, because you're -4.
Yeah.
Unless you're really worried about a 6-up save.
Yeah, and it's okay. The relic is okay. It's not. You're not going to put that on a War Dog.
Because the Forge World War Dogs are cool. The Morax.
But they're not characters.
Profiles.
But they're not characters, and you can't give them the character keyword.
Correct. Yeah.
So
the Forge World got 2 good War Dogs actually. They got what? They got the one that 6s are 3 hits, and then they got the one that 6s to wound are mortals. Correct.
Yeah. They have the lightning one, which is fine. I mean, I personally still like the other 2 better, points wise and all that. Their damage output is more average.
He gives his kid
Go.
in the background.
It's always chaos.
He knows he's on camera too. He's definitely looking straight at it and dancing.
That's why we play chaos.
That's great. So yeah, that's I guess you're right. But that is cool to put it in reserve. It's a shame that their other perks aren't super with that. Do they already have a strat for doing anything with the Melta, like maxing the damage or maxing the amount of shots with the Melta or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, because that would be really cool as a nice combo. Hey, I'm here and I max damage. So now we're getting to what Matt was talking about with all of you, essentially like design your own household, and they've got everything. Good lord.
Yeah, they have ways to help your Overwatch, to reroll how many shots you're going to get or reroll the damage on it. So I'm not expecting much out of Overwatch anyway, but it at least makes it a tiny bit feel better.
Yeah, so
but
basically,
I'd like to cover.
If you're not picking a household, you can make a custom household. And you can pick 2 of these, unless it has an asterisk on it, which then it counts as being 2.
Okay, so comparable idea to the Space Marine.
Essentially, the exact
the
same
chapter
thing.
tactic things that you guys can have, or whatever they're called, the successor chapter tactics.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, there's some good ones in there. There's like the Endless Torment, which is the Overwatch one he's talking about. There's another one in here. Warp Vision is going to be decent, which is When resolving attacks made with ranged weapons, the units that they're shooting at don't gain benefit to cover.
Huge.
With the way they're talking, how cover is going to be prevalent in this game too, in ninth, it could be good. There's other ones where give +1 to hit against vehicles and monsters. Can't complain against that when you're shooting your volcano lance at things.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the war dog, so there's another one in here where if a war dog falls back, it can still shoot and charge.
Ooh.
That's awesome. You can't go wrong with, that was one of the big things with playing the war dogs or the halberds and all that, is if they got touched in assault, they couldn't do anything. They were kind of done at that point because, they could run 14 inches away, but you're still in somebody else's threat range to recharge. So.
And you can't even shoot to...
Exactly. Now this is saying that you can back up, you can shoot again, and then you can charge, which again makes those Melta Halvern dudes awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the Melta Halverns are only like 150 points, I think.
164 fully
164.
kitted.
With the Melta on the hat?
I think so. Yep.
Okay. Man, there's definitely some in here that are pretty worthless. So, for instance, there's Geists of Ruin, and it does count as 2. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon with a model, when resolving an attack outside of 24 inches, shooting at your model, you have cover. So your knight basically always has cover. But the problem with that is that anything that's got that range is going to have an AP modifier where you're going to be taking your 5-up invul save anyway.
Maybe.
So what I'm thinking...
Look at autocannons.
Oh, that's true, autocannons.
They're only AP1.
That's true.
Or you're talking... even missile launchers are only AP2. So, theoretically, I mean, there's ways where you can...
So, yeah, that's actually not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, you potentially, and then it's going to depend on whether or not you're able to combine it with the strap, like the current one where you spend 2 CP before game and act as if you're in cover. So now if they're
a 1-up.
Yeah, so there's ways, and I think different terrain is going to offer different levels of cover as far as being obscure or whatnot. I think they even mentioned that certain things are going to give better cover than others.
I can see, actually, now that you bring this up with autocannons, I can see this one being very good for war dogs because aren't autocannons strength 7?
Yeah.
Okay, so
strength
you're
7
wounded on 4s on a war dog.
Yep.
Whereas like a big knight doesn't. Realistically, you need a 5 to wound me. Who cares?
And I mean, even when the original Imperial Knight Codex came out, I played it at Buckeyes. I said the power in this army is with the war dogs or with the halberds and all that. It's not running all these big knights. See, having 2 or 3, but to fill out those points with the little dudes, that's going to give you what you need.
Yeah, they do stuff.
Versatility.
Yeah, somebody ran an army where it was all Helverins except for one.
I saw that at Adepticon.
Yeah, was it the one that had the 1 melee and then everything else Helverins? Yeah, just for something just to panic at as it runs at you full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 knights and 9 in Buckeye Battle.
Really?
Yeah, so and it was. I took second, so I did something.
All right.
Did you run all Helverins? Did you run the little baby armigers or armiger?
Well, I ran 2 units of Helverins and one armiger.
Yeah, so I mean, having a 2-up save on a Helverin and armiger is actually pretty impressive when you really think about it. Let's see what else they got. They got Vengeful Outcasts. You reroll a wound roll of 1 if you're targeting Imperium. That might not be bad. There's a lot of Imperium right now. Heretical System Bond, resolving an attack made by a model with this bond that is subject to any negative roll modifiers. Add 1 to the hit roll. That's kind of cool. So now, because there are, so like let's say Aliatok Eldar. It has a negative modifier if you're outside of 12 inches, right? So if you're inside of 12 inches, it technically still has the modifier, it just doesn't apply to you. do you get a +1 and now hit on a 2+?
Probably not.
When resolving an attack made by a model with this bond that is subject to a... Oh no, because it states when you're resolving with a model making the attack if it has anything subject to it. Okay, never mind. I read it wrong. So yeah, that might be a little broken if you got him pretty close. But there you go with those outflanking knights.
Yeah, but I mean, there's stuff like the loathing for masses, which is while a model responds to the bonus from an enemy unit that contains 11 or more models, increase the attack characteristics by 1. That's not bad. That's 3 more stops.
Yeah, that's great for a rampager or a gallant. That's what, 6 base, something like that. Yeah.
And I think you can get up to 8 or 9 attacks at that point with these.
Man, there is some
And-
good.
And fighting twice, and yeah, there's.
And then you can do chainsword.
It's good. Yeah.
Not bad.
That is pretty crazy. So, have you guys talked about? I guess let's jump back to the terrain thing that we didn't really cover. In terms of new rules, what are the new? They didn't fully release terrain rules yet. They gave kind of
No, they hinted at a bunch of stuff. They talked about how there's going to be a lot more line of sight blocking stuff. That you're not going to be able to shoot through 3 windows and sliver of windows to be able to shoot another model. It could be going back to the 4th edition style of where you're only allowed to shoot through 6 inches of terrain. It could be interesting like that. I mean, that could be a huge change.
Yeah, that would really make, once again, Knights good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made it so they talked about the height of models being more in tune with their actual size. So they specifically talked about a demon prince being able to not. So a model that's 2 inches off the ground can't be swung at by a demon prince who's on the ground because they're not within an inch of each other's base.
Yeah.
Even though the model's right there to touch, they're getting rid of that. You're going to be able to swing with that.
Yep.
That's a big thing for me. I really like that because there's a lot of stupid things like that.
Yeah, it's going to make it so you don't have to spend your CP for Imperial Knights to use your gauntlet in a building and all that. Because you have guardsmen up there sticking their middle finger out, it's going.
It was always Eldar for me that were.
Yeah,
casting
exactly.
Yeah, it's like 5 rangers sitting in a building, and you're like,
Plus
put
a
my Dark
platform.
Reapers up here. You can't touch them.
Yep.
So,
I've lost so many games because of that.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to have all that stuff go away, or at least be remodified to be logistically correct with the way an actual world would work.
Yeah. I mean, I get that we're playing a sci-fi game with toys and dolls, but I would like a little bit of, reality or reasoning, I guess I should say, behind my toys.
Some realism for my toys.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Spend
here.
extra for that.
Yeah. That's actually the new GW extra package with their app. you get new rules. Let's see.
More realism.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we actually forgot as well. Man, I'm all over the place. Our hobbying thing, because Team Bad Decisions is clearly and most front, minus Eric, a hobby team, and not here to smash face. So what Eric? What do you got going on in terms of hobby aspect? What do you got?
Oh goodness, I am finishing up a Imperial Knight army that I'm working on for a client of mine. I am working on our Adepticon stuff still from this year that we were going to do and kind of put a hold off on our Atlantean Dark Eldar. I'm working on that slowly but surely.
Nice.
It gets irritating to work on it because it's just so much conversion work on it. It's a pain to airbrush.
Great.
Oh, I bet.
I'm looking at starting a new army for the Michigan GT if it's happening. I got to figure out what we're doing with that and what I want to play. If I just want to expand on my Slanesh or if I'm going full out corn again or something else completely. I mean, I have played every army in the game and I've owned every army in the game. I just I have my love for melee, so I kind of stick with melee armies.
Well, so I played a tabletop tactics with you against Korn the other day or last week or something like that. And you had
My
what,
world
like,
leaders.
yeah, you had like 3 skull cannons. I've never seen skull cannons on the table ever.
Yeah, I
so,
have some skull cannons out there.
Were they
Yeah.
cool? Did
No,
you love them?
they're hot garbage.
They're so
always
bad.
garbage. But there's a strat for them now where they can get when they get shot at, they take half damage, which is okay.
Cool.
But there's still only 7 moon models.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're a scare tactic, and really the reason why they're in the list isn't specifically for like what you were playing your 3 discordants, 3 dual thermal cannon knights.
Yeah.
It's not for dealing with them. It's specifically out there. You throw in those skull cannons, and they deal with snipers, the eliminators, things that are hiding and going.
Yeah.
No,
Cover.
I'm not going to let you have cover, and no, you're not going to snipe out my important characters because you need to deal with these things because I'm going to kill your stuff that snipes too.
Yeah.
So,
But if it makes you feel better, I mean, I had 6 thermal cannons, and it took me 3 turns to kill 3 skull cannons. So
yeah.
Nice.
I mean, they were still all right. I mean, for 80 points each, they took their firepower. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
with shooting at them, they took their firepower.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun. That was one of the games or one of the lists that I was considering playing, and it did fine. I mean, there were some couple mistakes I think you made as far as moving things up where you shouldn't have and allowing me to touch things that shouldn't have been touched.
I think I should have just hid the whole game, basically.
Yeah.
And-
Back
I
forward,
think
buddy.
you needed to take another turn and away from me.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Berserkers did what they were supposed to do. The Possessed were just as stupid as I knew they would be. And they
it
weren't
wasn't
even
full
fully
possessed
buffed.
ones. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they weren't even fully buffed.
I was
berserked, possessed.
Yeah,
There's a-
3 units of Berserkers with Chain X, Chain Sword, Power Fist on Champion in Rhinos. They're 8-man units. And then I had 2 units of 18 Possessed. So I was running dual Possessed Bomb. And I had the Herald of Khorne Deep Strike in with the Crimson Crown. So every 6 to wound, or 6+ to wound, you would generate another attack.
Not
So
bad.
then when you start combining it with the Veterans of the Long War and the Dark Apostles Litany for the +1 to wound, now you're proccing additional attacks on a 4+.
Yep.
It was silly.
That's great.
It was brutal. It was very brutal. Possessed Bomb was
was
taking out
like-
knights left and right.
Oh yeah, I just sneeze on a knight and go away.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I did the average, and statistically, if you were to only roll 2 attacks for the Possessed on the charge, it only takes 4 Possessed to kill it. I don't want to run the combat.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna bring some possessed.
I know,
The
right?
extra attacks that they get. Yeah, it's just dumb.
So what, Ryan? What do you got going on here? Your nose to the grind over there.
Yeah, working on some Forge World Eldar still. I only really get about 2-3 hours a week to work on them, and seems like so far in the last couple of weeks I've been on here those couple hours, so
Doesn't
Bit
it
it
suck
in.
being
Kinda-
an adult?
Do it together.
knocking them out.
Okay, working on the gems. Cool.
Yep.
I miss Hornets from 7th edition. I wish they were as good as 8th edition Hornets. Or I guess now post or pre-9th edition Hornets.
There you go.
What are you
Yep.
doing? What are you doing, Matt?
I have quite the list. I'm always itemized with my projects. The list is currently at about 30 long, so I won't give you the whole thing.
Let's do
as
top
far
5.
as commission goes, yeah, I have about 4,000 points of a Custodes army that I'm painting up for a client. It's way too gold for my liking. I've never
that
painted
should take
Imperial
like 2
before.
minutes.
Oh my god, they want I'm
Just
weathering
rattle
the whole
can it?
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Personal project.
spray him
that
gold and add
Ugh.
back to the shade. You're done.
It's awful. I'm gonna go edge highlight every inch of it though.
Oh, you're crazy.
You're madman.
Thanks. Well, that's
No,
Madman.
commission, right?
no, thank you.
What's your what you said you had a personal project you were doing?
My personal projects I'm most excited about. I picked up a COVID Corn Demon army that is already moved to the side because I went and bought 3 Keepers of Secrets, and that Celeste dude who's like, it's all so good. That Slanesh Demon Prince who looks like Xerxes from 300.
Yeah.
Just putting out shit. Oops. They're all so good. I'm excited about Slanesh Demons. I know I'm supposed to be playing Nurgle, but I have to cram it together.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked. As soon as I saw the Bloodthirster Exalted Bloodthirster, I should say, table, I was like, I'm doing Bloodthirsters and adding them in. So I'm working on Bloodthirsters and just kind of doing like rough conversions. I don't know if we can see this here. But
oh man, you got something going on.
Somebody did an Angrath, and I stole his idea, and then he had like a spine on the back, and I wanted like a skin effect, and then I thought that his wings were not
That's sick.
destroyed enough. So I basically, it's actually super easy. You literally just drill a hole through the wing, and then you put green stuff in there, let it harden almost to like its fruit roll-up consistency, and then you just take like a brush back and just jab at it. Or in this instance, I went this way because I figured like he's coming down, bolters are shooting up at him or something. But I think I'm just going to do some generic conversions like that. I want to get one Bloodthirster that's almost like completely custom or whatever. I have to find a model. And Gibbs, I'm sure you know of something I can use to make something. Nothing
I
really.
mean, you've got your creature caster stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like everyone uses creature caster, and I wanted something that would kind of be bigger, I guess.
But at some point I had a discount on creature caster.
Really?
Well.
I don't remember.
Wow.
I don't know. I still have it. But
In that case,
56%.
if we have client discount.
no, it's not. No, it's not like what the other stuff we have. But
Frequent buyer discount over there. You have the whole
Yes.
lineup. But,
We do have privileges.
I mean,
here at
there's
T-Bet.
Yeah, I
some
know,
good
right?
Forge World models. I mean, the giant demon prince with the axe is always good.
I've got him actually. Now
Good.
in 8th I ran for a while the corn list, and I used Angrath at tournaments, and they obviously not anything major because they ban I think power level 30 and he's like 35 or something like that. But I was like, I'm gonna do Angrath with 2 demon princes and then just all bloodletters because it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Did it work?
It worked. I actually played Knights, and I played a guy that took that Imperial Knight house where if you have like 2 Knights together and I charge this one can Overwatch as well. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he took 2 of the Knights with Flamer templates and the harpoons. And so he harpooned my Demon Prince and killed it on the charge.
Ow.
Yeah, it really sucked. But I did end up winning because, just like Gibbs was saying earlier, once you tow the Armigers or Helvrins, they can't do anything. So I just deep strike 30 bloodletters and mass charged like 6 of them. And I mean,
Good.
they didn't really do squat. They eventually died because there were so many wounds. But for like 3 turns, the Helvrins couldn't do anything.
That's the point.
Yes.
Time up.
So that
Until
helped
ninth
Angrath
drops,
run
and
around.
vehicles can still do whatever they want anyway.
I know,
That'll be cool.
Right? I know. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with a walker keyword for like Knights or like walker things, so they don't get the vehicle perks.
Oh yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, so I'm working on some corn stuff, still trying to finish up. I'm always just adding random bits to my Knights. I'll see something cool and I'll be like,
Good.
oh man, screw it, let's add some stuff. So like my Knights are this massive conglomerate. I found like my latest thing was I found biker rings on eBay, and they're like skulls and stuff, and I just sawed the back half off and then painted it up and put it on as the helmet of my knight.
Well done.
So, but crazy stuff.
Yeah, you
Leave
can always
it to
see
the
the big
bikers to
rat
help sell
dudes from
chaos.
Skaven.
The big rat dudes
Yeah, from Skaven.
for a
solid.
Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Vermin Lord, the big
foreign
rat dude?
thing.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
there's
could.
that. There's Etsy's got a model that's decent called Balls Radon. BAALCRODAN, the Demon King.
Birdie's married.
He's kind of cool. Or you could always do like Marcus did and do what's his face, the Slaves of Darkness dude.
Oh, the big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ankron.
He's cool.
that was one of my options too, but I was kind of like, do I want to drop $1.65
Yeah.
plus Bloodthirster bits to convert?
Worth it.
I mean, we are bad decisions, so I
Yeah.
guess theoretically I should.
It's in our tagline.
I can't
Or
find
you
this.
can buy the big dragon. Buy the big Forgel dragon.
Yeah.
I should just use Smog from the Hobbit line. Do you remember
Smaug.
that?
Go
The
get
five,
Smaug.
Yeah,
the $500
yeah, but you
one.
could. Yeah, but that's exactly it. Smog wasn't that big. This other dragon that you can get from Forgel right now is huge.
Really? What is?
I'll check
this
it out.
thing?
We're looking it up.
Is it AOS?
Yes.
Age of Sigmar. Let's see what we got. You know what faction it is? Chaos.
Corn.
Okay.
I think you just type in Corn Dragon and it'll come up. No, that didn't happen.
That's what I used to call my mom. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Okay, Vorgoroth the Scarred. That is a big old corn dragon.
It is huge.
Looks just like my mom.
Do you have one, Gibbs? You
No.
can shove up on the table for perspective.
No.
It's by the way, folks, low price of $610.
Yes, exactly.
Got
Not
it.
that bad.
But you will
Subscribe
get
now
free
to help us
delivery.
get it.
That is pretty beastie. Those, I mean, the wings alone would be cool. Man. All right. Stop putting bad ideas in my mind.
Get some
That's what I'm
monster
here
movies
for.
going. Good suggestion.
All right, guys. I think we pretty much covered everything, and we've been kind of just going around for about an hour and a half. So, you guys got anything before we wrap up and whatnot?
Nope, I don't think
Feeling
so.
good.
Yeah, not particularly.
You gonna get one Hornet done before next weekend, Ryan?
No,
That pace.
because I've got some ideas for custom canopies. So
You're so close.
It'll be great. All right.
Is it like a blood letter stabbing your dude out of the cockpit?
oh, it wouldn't be the first time.
That might be kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and shut us down here, and see you guys later.
Awesome.
Keep
Later,
making bad
guys.
decisions.
Yep.
Yep, keep
Later.
making bad decisions.